for Say and Hyatt series, the National Critics' Choice Online Edition. Today I wish to welcome Ms. Claire Chiang, who is a social activist, entrepreneur and author, and she's also the Singapore Women of the Year, a former nominated Member of Parliament, Chairman of the Business Development in China for Banyan Tree Holdings, as well as Chairman for the Banyan Tree Global Foundation here in Singapore. She's also the first two women to be admitted in a committee of a once all-male dominated Singapore Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and she's now here with us to share her life experience as well as the upcoming the Asian Children's Book Festival here in Singapore. Ms. Claire Chiang, welcome to Say at Hyatt Online show. Many have asked and wondered how you choose to remain active even in your prime years, and what is your motivation that keeps you having moved forward to have a forward thinking and being so innovative. What's your secret really in living a long life and staying in good health?
Actually, life is very simple when you have a purpose and you know what the purpose is. And for me, the ability to spend time with myself, whether it is through reading or whether it is through improving life skills, it's something I continually do. So it's a lifelong learning journey. And I think that itself helps to motivate new thinking, always learning new things. And this continuing learning capacity excites the imagination and really keeps you young, because it keeps you abreast of what is happening around you, whether it is the world, or it is about Singapore, or it is with my three children who are in different ages. One who is 30, and a daughter who is 26, and a younger son who is now 18. So it is like, the first and the last is 12 years apart, and they do have different experiences. So they are my inspiring models. They teach me new things. So I think continuing learning and always discovering what's new is a very important attitude in life. And I have had the opportunity to travel, and in traveling, you're always discovering new cultures, people, what they like, don't like, and they make you think about what you've done and what you've thought about before, and whether you should find new paradigms. And also in all this exposure in the things we do, we also then find new partnerships to look at whether it is work or life from different angles. So this continuing learning and committed to learning, I feel, has been what keeps my spirit young. Of course we will age, and my daughter has been very diligent in making sure that every time she's with me, she helps me to stretch. And I still play tennis, and because of my work, I travel a lot. So I physically, therefore, work my body a fair bit. And recently I've gone back to some dance classes. I even was in body combat. So I think exercise and having the attitude and the spirit to always want to learn are two important qualities. But of course, drinking a lot of water, eating nutritionally, and sleeping well, important. I do not need 8 hours sleep. I could do very well with 5 to 6 hours. So in that sense, I regained more hours to do the things that I like. And I help out with AFCC, this Asian Festival for Children's Content, and sometimes it's taken up some of my mornings, but I will make it up on the weekends, and I will make it up at night. So I really feel that we do have time for a lot more pursuits other than work and family. It's just how smart you work, how you delegate and prioritize your work. And therefore you regain time, and then you use time in a quality way and able to do it all.
Amazing. And speaking about purpose, what do you see the future trends for children in the world in terms of reading? What are the kind of goals and solutions and progress probably you hope to establish for the next 5 years with the Banyan Foundation?
The credit for this movement really has to go to that team of very dedicated and committed champions like Rama, Kenneth, who are all in the Singapore National Book Development Council. Whether children would like to read a book or prefer them to read an e-book, or prefer not even to read but to go through only blogs, is something we can't. There are choices. I prefer handling a book. There are people who would rather have Kindle. The others will prefer using iPad and even the smaller iPads to read. There are people who do not read at all, but they read passages. As long as one reads, that's good enough. And it is the way then you are being invited to explore further than the medium that you're used to. That will be the next step. And this festival hopefully will expose everyone to various mediums of reading and enjoying content. Whether it is multimedia, it is cartoons, comics, visual, or it is a print. We are hoping to create this platform through this Asian Festival for Children's Content to invite different peoples of the world to express themselves in different formats, and that those who participate will then find the medium that is comfortable, they are comfortable with, and then create or just read. I think that is something for everyone, anytime.
How important is this forerunning, pioneering work that you do right here in Singapore for you? Because you mentioned that you love to travel,
Yes.
and I know that you've seen so much in
Yes.
the world, especially poverty.
Yes.
What kind of future opportunities does your foundation, the Banyan Foundation, and even for yourself, will able to assist children in those places, like Indonesia and Vietnam or Cambodia? What's happening to the emerging economies and underdeveloped countries?
Okay. We felt that e-books are going to be a competition to print books, but there's so many poor countries where there is no internet connection. So there are children who do not even have access to books. So I'm helping out with some villages in up north, working with the Rotary Club of Suntec City. I also, through the Biotech Global Foundation, and through where we operate our resorts, have actually connected with the schools of the destination. So literacy, mentorship, and reading are some of our big programs group-wide. So if I were to able to find good Asian content, I would able to then also transport these books to the various destinations and to introduce cross-cultural enjoyment in terms of Asian content. So it is through encouraging writers through the AFCC platform, and then through dissemination through our own hotel network where we operate, and by forming a champion team at each of the property that we operate to go down to the villages and work with children, schools and teachers, that I hope reading becomes itself an empowering experience and tool for development.
Speaking about empowering experience for you, how important is this event, Asian Festival of Children's Content, as a social activist and pioneer in leading this initiative with Mr. Rama? How did you draw this inspiration from this to lead? Is your leadership skills and acumen consist of a lifetime learning process, or is it actually built by institutional training background?
I really would not claim credit for pioneering this. Really, I think it is AFCC and Singapore National Book Development Council that have started this like a decade ago. It was only in 2010 when they decided to make this into a festival that they invited some more entrepreneurial ideas that I got in. And since then, yes, I've helped to charter some directions and helped to raise the funds to get this going. But in terms of its future plans, I think the advisory council, which consists of a number of representatives from 20 over countries, will be really that body of voices to help to steer us forward. In my own case, we grew up only with books, and reading is the one important activity outside of school. We didn't have television. I only had radiofusion and books. And books were very cheap those days. And then we have a fantastic network of libraries where we go and we can borrow 3 books every time. So that became the weekend activity for myself and afterwards for my 3 children. I never trade off the time going with them to the library. And weekends when we visit bookstores, my husband and I will be in those with coffee, have coffee and a piece of cake and our own books. The children will spend 2-3 hours at times and at older times at NPH. So this whole reading habit has become for me an important parenting experience. And I also found how it has sort of opened them up to the world. And in a way, it's the best babysitting experience that I find. It is free. And now, through the Biotech Global Foundation, I'm actually initiating a mobile reading van. So we're actually going into villages and stocking the van with books, where there will be a storyteller. Sometimes children need certain help with an adult guiding them in their reading habit. So we could actually talk to them, talk about the books, and actually show them some illustrations, or even use multimedia by helping them to read along, so-called. And bringing books through the van to the villages really is bringing reading content to them. So I'm accumulating all these examples and building up this case history to hopefully in future, where we operate in the various 20 over countries, we will always have a mobile reading library as well.
And speaking about being mobile, I mean, is there anyone throughout your life that has inspired you to be a leader, you know? And is inspiration important to a leader like yourself, you know? And what is participative leadership? Many of them have asked. And what does it mean for you and for the rest of the world today?
Yeah. For the first question, I think there are a lot of people who are my role models. I do not clearly say I hero worship or heroine worship anyone, but I have been very fortunate in childhood. The 2 women in my life, my mother and my grandmother, and my father, have been my role models, because 3 of them have shown me what determination is. Growing up from a home that is not wealthy, these 3 have never made me feel poor, especially feel deprived of learning and for buying books. So that's a very important start point. And 3 of them, through the life exemplary ways, have shown me what it means by taking self-responsibility. And I think that, again, is the first quality of leadership. That you take responsibility for what you see that is not right. You take responsibility for acting on a pathway to make good what you think is wrong or what you think you may be deprived of. Because nobody else is going to do that for you. And the leader has then to take responsibility, make decisions about what to do next. So and also my teachers during the childhood, a few of them I could even remember so well, had been really my early disciplinarians and coached for a lot of what I call good behavior and good values, which till today still remain. And those were the times when we didn't have a lot. What we had was pure creativity and imagination, and important, a nurturing, mentoring spirit from our elders. So in secondary school, having girlfriends and also teachers who walked by me, giving me tips about learning, about reading, about doing sports, and leading what they feel are integrated lifestyle, had been very inspiring for me. And again, I think that is another quality of leadership, It is to be able to see life from a very holistic and integrated manner. So although I'm trained in the social sciences, I feel that I have methods which are, in that sense, steered towards a side of being disciplined and very pragmatic and with clear engagement models. So the hardware and the software are what I would combine to make things work. And this doesn't just come from going to attend management schools. This comes from actually participating in activities and in doing a lot of voluntary work on the ground. So participating in leadership is not command and control. It's not about me as a leader telling you what to do. It's top down. It's about being delegating and taking responsibility together. So it is really about teamwork, and it's about collective movement. And with that, it has to be collective participation. And participatory leadership, I feel, it's really a journey by which one learns, the leaders learn, and those who follow will contribute by giving the inputs and also learn. It has to be a mutually learning experience to be empowered.
Amazing. Speaking about empowering, what is your philosophy of life as an activist, leader, and as a parent today?
Having walked 60 years and having done community work for the last 30 years, I have been humbled to realize that one person cannot do it all. I think you can have a vision, but that vision, when it is not shared and acted on by many, it will fall flat. And it's also important for any leader with a vision to always continually ask, is that sustainable? And also whether that could be reshaped by listening to the various inputs from the collective. So that journey is a continual learning journey of shaping, refining that vision, and continually breaking that vision into many different parts, so that different people can take ownership of different parts to make the whole. So you have to break the vision into a multitude of tasks, and then you have to execute and act on it. A vision, a dream is as good, and everyone can have one. But it is not the success story. It is the implementation. So the devil is in the details, is in the execution of it. And that requires determination, perseverance, teamwork, continuing revisioning, learning from mistakes, and redoing it again to get to the goal. So that vision and the signpost must be in view. That many paths leading to it, but you have to take any one of those paths and get there and be there. It's just work.
Speaking about being there, could you give 3 points of lifetime advice for those who are aspiring to be in your footsteps, for all the women and the men in the world, of course?
At any one time, we really have to take care of oneself. I truly believe in the importance of self-agency, meaning you cannot wait for the next person to tell you what to do. And you should not wait for the government to give you all the environment to help you successful. Self-agency really is about you taking that first step to act on what you decided. Now, people will say that while you have all the resources, of course you can take the first step. Not everybody has it. Now, it begs the question, you can't again wait for all the resources are there for you to then ask, what is it that you want? You yourself know best at this point of time, the resources you have around you. What are you best at? What do you want for life and for work? What is your first principle in the first place? Is your first principle to make good what your skill sets are, therefore go and improve it, get a PhD degree. You'll be the next CEO of the sector you want to operate in. But you must know what you want, and then you create that footprint to get there. And if your first principle is to get married and you like to have children, then you really need to check at the point of time where you're very busy making your career. Are you then sacrificing family time and children's time? If you are, then you are violating really your first principle of wanting marriage and children. So you need to do a trade-off. And at some point of time, you need to take a pause, or you need to do career and marriage and family together, not so hastily, and maybe in a slower pattern and a longer time zone, but you get there. I don't get to where I am today. I don't get to where I am today overnight. It is many zillions of steps and many trials and errors and discoveries that that shaped what I want, and then knowing what I want. Having gone through that self-clarification, next is to examine at the point of time what matters the most, what counts, and how do you do it. It could be a lot of calculus. Some women have actually negotiated with their husbands where when they were posted overseas, is that the husband had to take a back step, and in fact even maybe help to stay at home with the children, and she fly off, and she and the husband went along. And then after a certain period, when they come back, she may take a back step, and he may go forward. But all this time, he is still connected to work, but at a slower pace. And it could be vice versa. And I've seen couples done that way. Therefore, it is really looking at the longer time span of your own life to prioritize really what is it that you want as a person that will make you happy and satisfied as an individual to feel fulfilled. So once you are able to clarify that important question, and over different life stages, your answers may be different, but then you have to make the choices. You have to organize your resources in order to create that opportunity for yourself. And along the way, you might get sponsors, you might have assistants, and you might have mentors who facilitate your success, but those are bonuses. In the end, it's still yourself taking that journey on your own, but with clarity.
Amazing. Thank you for the clarity. And speaking about clarity, once again, thank you, Ms. Claire Chiang, for joining me at Hyatt at the National Queen's Choice Online News. And really, viewers, please do come to the Asian Festival of Tourist Content that's coming up in May, and look out for Ms. Claire Chiang. And if you do get hold of her biography, which is out now,